You know, there's something really hard to admit to yourself when everything is actually ready. You have the ideas. You have the knowledge. You even have the opportunity, but you're still not moving. It's like you're stuck, and you don't fully understand why. And the first thing people usually think is, maybe I'm just lazy. Maybe I need more discipline. I just need to push myself. But if we're being honest, that's not what this is. Because when someone is truly lazy, they don't think about it this much. But you do. You come back to it. You overthink it. You feel it, which means there's something deeper going on. So let's slow down and really look at it. Why do you hide, even when you're ready? First, you're not avoiding the action. You're avoiding what comes after, because the action itself is simple. But what follows? That's unknown. Imagine this. You take the step. You show up. You post something. You start something. Now people can see you, judge you, misunderstand you, ignore you. And that moment feels uncomfortable. It's not the action. It's the fact that you can't go back to hiding the same way. Second, there's often a hidden belief inside. If I step forward, I'll be judged. And that belief is powerful because it activates protection. And protection works like this. It stops you before anything happens, so you never even get there. And it looks like, I need more time. It's not perfect yet. I should prepare more. And it all sounds reasonable. But if you're honest, it's not preparation. It's avoidance. And this is where honesty with yourself matters. Third, you might be ready externally, but not internally. And that's a huge difference, because having skills, knowledge, ideas, that's one thing. But feeling like, I'm allowed to do this, that's something else. And most of the time, that's what's missing. Not resources, not ability, but permission. Permission to be seen, to make mistakes, to grow. And until that permission exists, you'll keep delaying, even if everything is perfect. Now, here's the key shift. You keep waiting for the moment when fear disappears, when confidence shows up, when it feels comfortable. But that moment doesn't come first. It comes after. You don't become ready and then start. You start and then become ready. And this is where everything changes, because you stop waiting for the perfect state, and you begin moving with what you have, even with doubt, even with fear, even with uncertainty. And something powerful happens. You're not just taking action, you're changing your identity. You stop being the person who hides, and you become the person who shows up. And no, it doesn't happen instantly. It's a process, but it starts with something very simple. Honesty. Admitting, I'm not lazy, I'm avoiding. And from there, you don't force yourself. You move in small steps. Not all at once, not perfectly. Just show up a little. Share a little, step forward a little. And every step reduces the tension, because now you have a new experience. An experience where you don't hide, and nothing breaks. And over time, this becomes normal. You don't freeze as much, now you don't pull back. And one day you catch yourself thinking, why was I so afraid before? And that's a powerful moment, because you realize you were ready a long time ago. You just didn't let yourself begin. If this resonated with you, write in the comments, I'm not hiding anymore. And make sure to subscribe, because we're going deeper in the next videos. And yes, watch this again, not as motivation, but as a reminder. Because this isn't just something you hear once, it's something you grow into. And remember, you're not stuck. You're standing at the edge of your next step. And all you need is to take it, because anything is possible.